Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for another GT2 challenge by New Dimension Racing, brought to you by simbroadcast.tv. I am Chris Ford, and I'm joined today by Jack Eyre and Thilo Falkenberg. Today we are here at Westhill International, and if you're with us last week for the Team Rock Racing 8-hour event, you will know that Westhill has changed significantly since the last time we did endurance racing at this track. It'll be very, very interesting to see how the GT2 class handles it as opposed to the GT1 class last week, which was a little bit more spread out. Today, I expect to see fast, frenetic action. The XR and the SR are close, but the XR has a slight advantage in pacing at this track, so it'll be very interesting to see how things go during the race today. First of all, I'm joined by Jack Eyre. Jack, would you like to discuss the cars and how this is to discuss the cars we've got out there today in the GT2 class? We have FZR, XRR, and FXR.
Yeah, sure. So we've got three cars competing, all leveled out as much as they can be so that they're as competitive as possible and as close to each other as possible. So, like you said, the XRR is the first car I'm going to come to. That is, like you said, the slightly faster car so far, like you said as well. It might come down to strategy. It's about tyre saving, really. The XRRs will be slightly faster in the race. They take a 25% voluntary intake restriction, which leaves them down at 356 brake horsepower. Obviously, the XRR is rear-wheel drive, along with the FZR, but the FXR is four-wheel drive. There are slight differences between all the cars as well. The FXR, the four-wheel drive version, and the XRR both have sequential gearboxes, whereas the FZR has a conventional H-pattern gearbox. But there's also a slight difference with the FZR also. That doesn't have a turbo. That's a flat six engine. So potentially easier to get on the power, but again, you might lose out with the lack of a sequential gearbox, so to speak. Gear shifts can be slightly more tedious, and the fact that you have to keep an eye on the clutch temperature if you're flat shifting. Very level playing field, though. I think we're going to talk a bit about the track now. We are at Westhill 2, Westhill International. I think Thilo's got a few notes to let you know.
Westhill International is a 5.8 kilometer long track. It is situated in the rural England, and it is made up from 14 corners. As Chris pointed out, the track has changed recently-ish. The current version of the track is around since 0.6H, which was released in April 2015. And it got a few updates, including a national circuit, 2 karting tracks, and a rather detailed surrounding area. We are on the international track. Compared to the old version, it is still a very flowing track, but instead of an a flowing S section after what we now call the bridge section, there is now a braking chicane, which turns 11 and 12. And yeah, I think it's a track which suits very well to GT racing, and we'll see plenty of action here today.
Yes, can I just say, as an old man of Live for Speed, it's very confusing when we talk about Westhill International being Westhill 2. Previously, in all the years that we've all known Westhill previously in Live for Speed, it was always Westhill 1 deal, and it's a very confusing thing for an old man to come back to Live for Speed and see all these changes. One of the interesting things I think is the about this change, having seen a few of the races around here and people working on the track, is that the turn 1 and turn 2 places are now an interesting passing position. It's no longer a simple drag pass on into turn number 1, and I think that's going to be very interesting to watch today.
I think we're just going to jump into a quick break. We'll be back shortly when qualifying gets underway. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Westhill, where the qualifying session is almost halfway through at the moment. Interestingly enough, Jack, we have two drivers in two different cars. We were discussing about the cars being very close earlier on. Joe Holmes and Isaac Price have both done the exact same lap time. Joe Holmes did it first. So Joe is on pole with Isaac second. And 1:52.59 is the time that they have both set just now, Jack.
So very similar to the times I've at least seen in the short practice session that we had before qualifying commenced. Fastest in that earlier practice session was Joe Holmes, who's now in second because Catilla pips both Joe Holmes and Isaac Price with a 1:52.38, fastest time that we've seen so far. But I think it's definitely impressive that two very different cars with identical lap times there. We'll see how they get on towards the end of qualifying. We've just got just under 11 minutes remaining before the end of qualifying. I'll be curious to see if any more drivers can get into the 52s. So far, 7 drivers have made it into the 52s, the very same amount that made it into the 52s during the practice session that we saw before qualifying. Now, Chris, you were talking about the drivers practicing, was it yesterday? Or, well, in a couple of days before the race today. How did they get on?
Yes, it was very interesting. They were actually doing sessions last night on the server. There was at least about 10 of them at one point, and 6 drivers all were within a tenth of a second at roughly this pace. They were discussing whether they thought they could get into the 1:51s in the FZR, but so far nobody's been able to do that. The person who seemed most likely in now's practice session was Yoni Katia. However, Joe Holmes is also very, very quick. However, Joe, I think, has been working more on a race setup, so very interesting to see who else can go a little bit quicker in this session. A 51, I think, is slightly quick for these cars around this track, but if somebody pulls an absolute world, you have a lap out, you never know. Thilo, would you like to go through the top 10 as it currently stands after 10 minutes of this 20-minute qualifying session?
So yeah, halfway through, Yannick Attila leads the tally with a 1:52.38 from Joe Holmes in second position, 1:52. Oh, and Lagutskas just promoted himself into second position, 1:52.42. Fourth position, Isaac Price in the best FZR so far, who is currently also on screen, 1:52.59, just like Joe Holmes. Marcelo Niva in fifth position, just 0.2 slower than Price. Pedro Picanco in sixth position, 1:52.85. Matthias Mackie Holmela, 1:52.94 in seventh position. Adria Stalo, same time, different car, in the FZR in eighth. Victor Veloso in ninth position, 1:53.01, and Borislav Botev currently on the 10th position, 1:53.09.
It's interesting to note that the top 4 at the moment are the top 4 that were in that session that were all very, very close together yesterday. Mackie Homla was the other one who was very, very quick during that session, boys. So I wonder if he has some time that he can improve upon just now. He's currently 6/10 off. He was able to do at least a 52.4 last night, so it'll be very interesting to see if he can pull something out of the back. Isaac Price is crossing the line just now. Does he improve? He does not. So 1:52.65, so he remains 4th on the grid for the round 1 winner.
29 drivers posting times so far. Just under 8 minutes remaining qualifying. 8 drivers made it into the 52 so far. The fastest driver on track, Joe Holmes, 1:52.36. 3 FZRs in the top 3, followed by 2 FZRs. Be curious to see how things unfold during the race, see if strategy can come into play.
Lagutskas crossing the line to start the next flying lap for him. Approaching turn 1. He goes through it full throttle. Slight braking for turn 2, dropping about 40 kph to go through that corner. Just a slight lift, still 200 kph through the third corner. Bit of braking there for turn 4. And now approaching the hairpin chicane section. So far the slowest part around this track. Only with an apex speed of around 125 kph. But now he's in the slowest section, the downhill left-hander into the right-hander bridge section through the chicane. And then late braking for the final double apex corner and back onto the start and finish straight.
Pretty clean lap from him. Does he improve? He does indeed. I think he's in third currently as Cass with a 152.42. Only 600ths of a second off Joe Holmes, who's still your pole sitter. And just comparing the lap times that he's set so far compared to the session prior, the little practice session we had before, he was only 100th faster. So if he can improve at all, he will match his, well, what I know, his current personal best, so to speak.
Holmes is now into the final sector now through the newish right-hander, and he hits the grass and spins out. So there's a little bit of commentator's sort of broadcast curse.
Just seemed to run slightly wide out of turn 8, I think. Caught the grass the tiniest amount, hindered his traction, and he aborts his lap. Plenty of time for him to set another one though. 4.5 minutes remain of qualifying.
And currently the top 6 are within, or even the top 7 within half a second. And top 3 even within 1/10 of a second, so it looks like the race is going to be a tight one again.
Yep. On stream just now is Nico Pantola coming out to the final corner, down toward the start-finish straight. He is currently 18th. Can he improve? Pantola improves to P13, 0.8 of a second off a pole position in the lovely Nyan Cat Eyre racing skin. With his number plate saying hello to his mother. Hello to Nico's mother out there.
Yeah, he crossed the line, is up now into 13th position with a 153.17. Only a slight improvement to get inside the 52s, and if he manages to do a 52 at all, the least he can be is 9th position.
By the way, up at top I see a déjà vu. We have again Joe Holmes and Isaac Price with the same lap time in 2 different cars on first and second position on the tally.
2 different occasions again.
So 200ths of a second covering the top 3. Well, under 1/10 of a second covering the front 4. As we predicted, boys, this is incredibly close out there, even between the different cars. With 3 minutes to go, so should be 1 lap more each for everybody out there. This is going to be a shootout for pole position between at least the front 5, you'd have to imagine.
Definitely, they're all capable of putting that car on the top spot for now. And I think there's a few out of the top 10, well, not out of the top 10, but out of the top 3 or 4 that we were mentioning, I think are also capable of putting it on the front row. We'll see how they get on. Curious to see where the FXRs are. There are a few in this grid. I think the highest one is in 23rd position. Obviously not the car of choice for the majority of the grid. I think we might have to work this out, but I think it's more like 60% XRR. There are a few SZs. As we know, one is currently tied for pole position. However, since Isaac Price set his lap after Joe Holmes, he is in second place.
Talking about FXRs, we are with Jürgen Weber for Heroes of Racing. This lovely little blue can of beer. He's currently in last position, 154.96. One of 3 FXRs.
Price has begun his final lap. I'm just watching on the server. Lagowski's completing his lap, currently in 4th position for Last Lap Motorsports. Where will he go? Just to keep you informed on his position. Joe Holmes has not completed his final lap. Lagowskis goes on to pole position with a 152.13. Last Lap Motorsports on pole position. I just had a feeling when I saw that second split that there was something up there. He is on pole. Now, Holmes can't do anything about it because he's spectated. What can Price and Katia do about the pole position time at the moment?
So Price on his lap now. I'm just currently watching him. I think we're going to bring him on stream as well. There he is, as you can see. Into the little bus stop section now before turn 7 onto the back straight. This is where we're going to see the majority of the overtaking down here and into turn 1 and possibly the final corner as well. You'll have to keep an eye on the split times for me, Chris. Let me know what you think is competitive. This is Isaac's last chance. When he crosses the line, the timer will be 0. He will not get another go. He might not need another go. Gets it turned into number 8 nicely. Back on the power again.
Yeah, he's a couple of tenths off of the pole position time. Lagowski did a 102.2 in split number 2. Price has done a 102.5. The FZR is slightly quicker through this final sector though, but I don't think he's going to be able to gain enough time on the XR in this final sector as he goes through toward the final turn.
So 5th gear, 135 miles an hour. Massive braking zone here into 13. Gets the car out wide, nice on the power through 14. And this will end his qualifying run. The timer is over, qualifying is over. So if you're on a lap, you can finish it. But everybody crossing the checkered flag now, that will be it. So Isaac, very, very, very close to his fastest time. His fastest time, a 152.36, crosses the line that time, a 152.38. Matches Katila's time in 4th, but not able to improve. He stays 3rd.
Katia is on a huge lap. Katia has matched the Lagowskis for the first 2 splits. Can Katia, the last man who I think could take pole position away from the Lagowskis, get the job done in the final split? He's a little bit over the curb in the chicane though. It didn't quite settle
a little bit
down
of
as
opposite
nicely.
lock there through number 8. He unsettled the rear of the car. Hopefully that didn't hinder his run too much now through turn 11 and 12. Cutting massively, but these drivers will get away with as much as they possibly can now. Up to 5th gear, 120 mile an hour, 130 mile an hour. Massive braking zone, 60 meters, turn it into 13. Apex speed, 80 miles an hour, so still carrying a lot of speed, uses all the exit curb on the outside. He just got a bit too much oversteer. I think that might be the lap gone. You could see he got 14 quite a little bit, and he crosses the line and sets a 152.35. So that improves his lap time by, I'm not sure what he improved it by, but he's 100ths of a second faster than Joe Holmes and Isaac Price. So 3 XRRs on the top 3 really.
Yeah, he improved by 0.003 of a second, so it was just enough to get him onto the front row. I think without that slide, he possibly could have stolen the pole position at the end there. But that slide out that tricky final corner means it's Lagowskis on pole, and we have a grid that has first to 14th. They're covered by less than a second.
Very close racing.
And now with qualifying over, we will just take a short break as we grid up for the main event of the 1.5 hour at Westhill number 2, Westhill International. We'll be back in a minute.
Oh, welcome back to Westhill International. In the little intermission that we've got before the race starts, we've got a few updates to bring to you, a few penalties. So, car number 69, car number 80, and car number 95 all receiving 10-place grid penalties. So, your man who set the fastest lap, Laguskas, will start from P11. Bit of a spanner in the works there. Hopefully he can bring it back in the race through the strategy and through driving ability. He knows he's faster than the majority of drivers in front of him. So, Catilla will start from pole. I think we're going to run down the order.
So yeah, Yanni Katila starting from pole position with a 1:52.35. He's followed by Joe Holmes and Isaac Price in the XRR and FZR. Matthias Mackie Heimler in fourth position, followed by Arturo Stalo and Pedro Picanco. Eighth position is Marcelo Niva, then Victor Vedasolo in eighth. Ninth position Sean Lee, 10th position Linka, 12th Borislav Botev, 13th. Sorry, I got positions wrong.
It's alright, there's been quite a few penalties, and just to clarify for the people asking in chat what the penalties were for, they were for late confirmations. So that's down to the drivers to get themselves confirmed for the season. And unfortunately, the drivers late to confirm receive a 10-place grid penalty. But another penalty for car number 85, down in 26th position. Unfortunately, that's for not pre-qualifying. So a couple minutes before the race. Let's resume the the list of drivers that we've got. Thilo, are you ready? Calculated all the penalties that we have for the grid.
I hope. So I think we were in 11th position with Borislav Botev, 12th position Kai Kipiropo, 13th position Nika Pontola, 14th Patrick Hall, 15th Mikhail Velikov, 16th Henry Virtanen, 17th Daniel Garcia, 18th Daniel Balla, 19th Jay Mead, 20th Leonard de Jong, 21st Nathan Lamoth, 22nd Martinez, 23rd Cristobal Gonzalez, 26th Magic, 25th Michael Malek, 26th Jürgen Weber, and behind them the remaining penalties, I guess.
So just to clarify,
so
car
doing
number
this
85
on the fly is really not good.
everything's changing. We're doing our best, as you can imagine. Race will start in just a few moments' time. Race controls are asking for all the cars now to join the track so that we can start the race.
The worst thing is we can't even blame our usual race director, Jonathan Palmer, for all these penalties because he's not here today. Today we have the other JP on New Dimension Racing's book, Jonathan Provost, is our race director, and he is taking after his main namesake boys by handing out so many penalties. Anyways, we come toward the start of this race. It'll be very, very interesting, I think, to see how the GT2 class gets on with turn number one. Certainly, I would think I would rather be on the second row of the grid than the first. because if it's anything like I've seen with the GT1 class, it's very difficult to hold your lead. It's a little bit like an oval into turn number 1.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very easy to overtake.
I'd love to be in P3 for the start of this. Obviously, there's a chance that you can come from third all the way to the inside of turn number 1, and as long as you're in front there, you shouldn't lose out on too much. Obviously, we've got quite a few sweeping corners. Turn 1 through number 4, if you're following a car, you're going to lose out quite significantly, so you want to be the lead driver. But then again, we've got some quite big straights here. Big straight where split 2 is between turns 7 and 8. Another big straight between turns 12 and 13. And then obviously the main start-finish straight. The draft is huge in these cars. I think we'll see the majority of the overtaking being done on the straights. We're just being finalised before we get underway.
The good thing is you've got 3 straights to pick from.
Yes.
Indeed.
I love a Live for Speed history for everybody. I think Thilo will remember this certainly. Joe Holmes and Isaac Price used to have a bit of a rivalry dating back to 2010, so 2009, 2010, when the Grand Touring Amateur League was a thing. And these two used to like colliding a little bit, quite a lot at the time, especially at the start of races. So hopefully they won't do that today, because of course Westhill is notorious for its gravel traps, especially if an XRR goes into them, an XRR is not coming out. So I expect to see bumping into turn number 1. Whether we see a crash or not, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised, boys, if the safety car does come out at some point today.
Well, we've had a few races at Westhill in the recent weeks, and all the turn 1s at Westhill, all the configurations that we've run have been very similar. So I think we'll see a little bit of door banging. Hopefully the drivers can recover and not go too wide. Obviously, with the slick tyres that we've got here, I mean, you get even the slightest part of the tyre on the track and you're almost a passenger. Very, very easy to run wide. Big gravel trap out of turn number 2 as well, so hopefully nobody gets stuck. We've got 75 minutes of racing coming up, so I think it's enough for our original pole sitter before, unfortunately, the penalty, to make his way up the order. Not quite sure he'll be able to get first. There's a few cars in front of him, between him and the leader, and he's got 75 minutes to make his way through. Strategy will come into play. Chris, you were predicting the XRR would be the faster car, and the top 3 cars on the grid are all XRRs. Curious to see how the strategy plays into that.
Yeah, I think that it's similar to what we discussed at Blackwood. It's going to come down to strategy, and I think that at Westhill, certainly the XR is a far better position because of the radius of the corners and the speed of the corners than the FSR to make strategy work. I'm not sure anybody's going to be able to do a race without pitting, as we saw Isaac Price do it the last round. I think everybody will make at least one pit stop, which again, given the quicker XR pit stop times than the FSR, means that I think the XR is the car to beat today. I can't see Price unless there's safety car luck, which could happen in a new Dimension racing series, certainly. Unless there's safety car luck, I think it's going to be very difficult for Isaac Price to beat Katia and Holmes today. But he's got a little bit of a stroke of luck so far with Logaukas, who's been very quick in practice and very, very quick at this track in general, especially in the Team Rock Racing race we had last weekend. Being pushed further back, so it'll be very interesting to see. I think that Maki Homla putting himself back up into the position I thought he should be in at the end of the session there. He was 8th and he jumped up to 5th position. Means I think he's a little bit of a wild card for this race as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Westhill always provides action, whether it's an LFS kart with the 2 NX cars colliding, whether it's Masters of Endurance with the Sonic Realms car taking out the Mercury racing car. Westhill, going back through the years, has just always provided strange moments that you wouldn't get at any other track. One false move, and you don't have anywhere to go. You touch the grass, you're off, having a big crash, as we've seen often enough in practice. So nobody can take it easy around Westhill. Nobody can lose a moment of concentration, even with these changes. This track bites, and this track bites you hard.
It does indeed. Massive gravel traps, long straight, sweeping corners. You do and you don't want to be in the draft at the same time. It's almost hell. But these drivers love it. That's what we live for. Hopefully we keep it clean during the start. Hopefully we see the best racing that we can possibly see fingers crossed. I'm sure everybody watching is excited as we are in the commentary box. 75 minutes of Westhill International coming up very shortly.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Westhill International here today for the New Dimension Racing GT2 Challenge, brought to you by SpinBroadcast.tv. I'm Chris Ford. Today I'm joined again by Jack Eyre and Thilo Falkenberg. You are watching our safety car, our official NDR Episode 5 safety car, trundling around the track as the cars warm their tyres up behind them. It'll be very interesting to see who is on what tyre strategies at the moment, because I think that'll determine whether they're going for one stop or no stops. Who wants to take us through what people are thinking at the moment?
So there's the good chance for the XLR drivers that you can make the whole race on a set of R3 tires, while R2 tires are showing that they are definitely going to pit at least once in this race. And seeing in our front row, we already see both strategies in place, with Jan Katila racing R3 tires while Joe Holmes using R2s.
Joe Holmes on the slightly quicker tyre compound won't last the entirety of the race. He's going to want to get past your man in pole, Ronnie Katila, as we round turn number 10 behind the safety car. Rolling start. We'll see the cars back up very shortly.
This is going to be fascinating because R3s are going to be dead at the end of these stints. An hour and 15 minutes, not 90 minutes, I said earlier, apologies, means these tyres have got to go such a long way, even in GT2 class. This is going to be fascinating to see who gets the strategy gamble correct. As you look back
off the safety car, Katila, the man on pole position, he will dictate the pace. Back in the field up slowly before the car peels off into the pits, and we start lap 1 of 39 here at Westhill International. He's going to want to put every foot right today if he's going to get those tyres to the end. He can't afford to be battling.
Yeah, and if I was Joe Holmes second on the grid, I would be desperate not to be overtaken by anybody down to turn 1, but that's not going to be easy for him. He's got Mackie Humler directly behind him. He's got Price to his right-hand side behind Katia. Katia waits and holds them as they wait for the green flag. It's a good start by Katia. Katia has made the start. Holmes chops across the nose of Isaac Price, just manages to hold him off before they go down toward turn number 1. There's a huge crash behind.
Multiple cars involved there, start-finish line. I don't think a few of them even managed to get across before they were already sideways. No,
as we were talking about that, Katia Holmes sweeps around Katia for the lead. And that is exactly what Joe Holmes wanted, boys. That is what he needed, the clean air, so he doesn't burn up his tyres, so he can get off into the distance from the other two that are chasing behind. The safety car comes out, though.
Isaac Price was side by side with Katila there. I think if the safety car wouldn't come out, we would have Katila down in third position. Cars all now slowing down.
De Jong is in the gravel.
That's on the outside of turn number 1. Safety car on its way out the pits will pick the leader up as they round the final corner. De Jong currently getting rescued by our rescue car. He's back on the track now. Catch the pack up, decide if he wants to pit. He's got some slight front end damage. Not sure if it's enough for him to pit. He'll be sizing the car up throughout this lap. I think it's bottoming out though, unfortunately. He is unable to make a left and he's back in the gravel down in 31st position, even though he's taking his time around the track. Definitely going to take him a while to get round to the pits.
I think the bigger problem for De Jong is that the car model got so stretched, he's actually bottoming out in the top, in the front left corner of the car, and so he can't steer properly on his way back to the pit lane.
Yeah, so just looking down the order then, Laguskas was another driver that got caught up in that tangle down the pit straight. He's got horrendous damage to his XRI. He's down in 24th position. Just look at the state of that car. Unfortunately, he's going to definitely want to pit to fix that damage.
Oh, De Jong's going to go straight into the gravel at turn before. He can't turn right, as you said. I wonder if this could be a retirement from this race. I don't think there's much point in him trying to get that back to the pits. It seems though our rescue car is going back to try and push him out, but I think he might just be as well just retiring that car. Can't see any way he's going to get back to the pits, to be honest.
Yeah, he's struggling in all massive corners. He couldn't turn left around turn number 2, struggled around 3, and he's only doing about 20 miles an hour. I think his car's just bottoming out, unable to really steer in any direction. I think that might be a DNF for him unless he can get round, get his car fixed. So the pace car has now picked the pack up as we round turn number 2. And if De Jong can't get back to the pits, he'll see the safety car on the entire grid pass him
Many pit stops
again.
Including
Yeah, a
the
number of drivers in the
Kowskis.
pits now. Lucas Cass, one of them.
Yeah, Mead, Lee, Blinker, Lamoth, Piroppo, and as you said, Laguskas, also Michael Malek.
Looking at the damage from some of these cars, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of contact lag issue at the start of this race back in the midfield, because the damage is so unnatural on some of these cars. It looks as though something has happened, especially to spit so many of those cars into walls and things like that.
So Lagus Cass makes his way out of the pit lane now to catch the rest of the pack that are just around turn number 5. Still on the lead lap, nice and fresh car, but down in 25th position. So insult to injury, really. Out-qualified everybody. 10 place grid penalty down in 11th and got tangled up in the incident that we saw just as the green flag dropped. So De Jong's managed to get himself on the paddock straight now. He's just about to round the final 2 corners. Got a bit of a margin now. I think the pack won't catch him. Hopefully he can make it round.
This
Once
is very
everybody... Sorry, go on.
So I was going to say, this is very interesting from a Tyrer's point of view, because this removes a few of the racing laps. So Holmes doesn't have as much of a chance to get away, and also it removes some of the danger from some of these, especially the XRR drivers, for going for the whole race on one set of tyres. It does mean that the tyres are going to be, I'd say, very cold toward the end, because it's not going to have as much time to get to heat temperature, but it'll be very interesting to see. But yeah, who can do what now that the safety car laps are going to play, and whether that means at the end of the race we might have slightly more carnage because there might be more punctures, whispering quietly.
De Jong in the pits, safety car in this lap. Joe Holmes starts to back the pack up for the restart. Curious to see where he can place his car. Isaac Price in 3rd, Catilla on those R3 combinations, still in 2nd place. Lost out to Joe Holmes on the first start. Here we go for the restart.
Oh, Price hits the back of Katia.
They're bumping, drivers not wanting to give an inch more. All of them full on the throttle but dragging the brakes. Get that boost pressure in the turbos for the turbo cars. Every advantage they can possibly have. Green flag racing as we're under race conditions. Once again, amazing start by Katia and Joe Holmes. Slight weaving from Joe. Doesn't want to give Catilla the draft. Isaac defending now from Ilastalo in 4th position. We round turn number 1 again for the restart, and that is a car off to the left. A couple cars involved.
Yes, Joe Holmes there clearly was watching the Eyre Racing Indy 500 race earlier, by the way he was defending his position, but he has retained the lead. Price is going for Katia though for 2nd position down the inside of turn number 4. Down the inside into the left-hander 4, as we saw in the first lap. They've collided! They've both spun! Katia's off! Safety car.
But they might have got away with it. Yeah, safety car deployed. That's neither. Number 95 down in 29th position on the outside of turn number 1. Got caught up in some action again at the restart.
Katia is very much stuck in the gravel trap there. So that's a disaster for our pole position man, Yoni Katia. He never seems to get any luck at this point, but this is great news for Joe Holmes. His 3 main rivals have all had problems at the start of this race. Disaster for Katia. He's going to have to get pushed out. I think it was pretty ambitious from Isaac Price to be up the inside there. Katia didn't give him much room, but Price came up on him and spun them both out in the end. He hit the curb and spun them both around. So I think it was a bit over ambitious from Isaac Price to make the move into that corner.
Yeah, and obviously the car's not quite up to temperature, so to speak. I know they've had the opportunity to warm the tyres under safety car, but I don't think that's enough to get the heat into the tyres that they really need to be able to drive at 100%. So De Jong might be able to get his lap back now. The man down in 30th position. He's not been collected by the field just yet. Race leader now on the paddock straight, heading up into 13 and 14. De Jong on the pit straight, about to complete his first lap.
Yeah, De Jong is the one who maybe profits from this second caution of the day the most, because he actually gets a lap back.
So where is the pace car? Pulled out of pit road. Just looking back now as he picks the field up. So what will be going through drivers' heads at this point, I wonder? Some will be thankful, obviously, unfortunately, for Catilla. The safety cars make his life a little easier. It means that he's got to do less laps on those R3 tyres to make it to the end, but unfortunately for him, got caught up in that issue with Isaac Price there at the restart. Everybody's bunching up, trying to keep some temperature in the tyres now. I'm looking through the graph that I've got on screen now. Very cold tyres for a few. Laguskas up to 17th position behind the pack now after being down, I think, in 25th. He'll be wanting to go back to green flag racing, gives him a few extra laps to carve through the field as much as he can. So Isaac Price, he leaves the pits now, catching the rest of the pack up. He is in 25th position. Catilla 26th, though. Catilla will be right behind Isaac Price for the restart. Two more cars making their way off of pit road. Drivers need to take it careful, or take it easy, sorry, at the restart. We don't want to see safety car after safety car.
I was told by Trespasser, who's currently in the chat, that the R2 drivers might get away without a pit stop if there are a couple more safety car laps.
Note message from race control, safety car in this lap. Curious to see now we're on lap 3 of 40. If the R2 drivers can make it to the end, if it makes their life any easier. Currently ride on board with your race leader. He'll be back in the pack up now as the safety car drives away into the distance. For our second restart now. Everybody bunching up. Hopefully we don't see the issues we've seen prior. Hopefully everybody's able to get away cleanly. Here we go.
Oh, safety car stay. What?
Yeah, he's in the pit lane.
Oh, no, it's in the pit lane.
Waiting for green flag now. Who's going to get the jump? Joe Holmes is your leader. Thilo Starlo in second place. Green flag racing. We're back underway at Westhill International now. Weaving from the leader now. Does not want to give the driver behind him any advantage. The draft is huge on these straights, like we said. Joe Holmes cleanly through turn number 1. Not under threat from really anybody behind. He needs to drive away from the field now. This is where the drivers behind will start to struggle following another car through these long, fast sweeping corners. You can see the size of the rear wings on these cars. Punch a huge hole in the air. You do not want to be following anybody at the moment. Below, so slightly slower than Thilo Starlo. The YFZR on your screen at the moment. Botev moves up into 4th position past Nico Puntola. So Botev, the man in 4th position now, looking all over the back of Veloso's XRR. This is where we'll start to see some huge overtaking. We might even go 3 wide here. Nico pushes Botev as they make their way up to turn number 8. Later on the brakes though is Veloso. He manages to deny Botev of that manoeuvre. Curious to see if he can hold him off to the final corner. This is where we're going to see the cars with the faster straight line speed amplified by that draft. Veloso, not the best chicane through 12, slightly out of shape as the two in the distance, Joe Holmes and Neil Starlow, drive away from the rest of the pack. Looking further back, Laguskas up to 15th position, Isaac Price up to 13th position.
Yes, while I've been a little bit silent, I've gone and looked at the lap 1 incident. Having thought it was lag, it was not lag that caused the incident. It was the car who we were just looking at there, Botev.
Ooh, Price through the middle. In the slipstream of Picanco, he pulls through the middle of Hall and Martinez.
It was indeed fantastic driving, threads the needle. Picanco wide. So Isaac now up into 10th position. Fantastic restart from him. He was I think he was just in front of Ioni Catilla, who's in 18th position there. I think they were 24th and 25th at the restart. So Isaac up in 9th now. Absolutely incredible restart for him.
Yes, I was saying before we got basically the first incident with Botev basically just drove into somebody in a straight line. I'm not really sure how he managed to pull that one off at the start there. One of the cars is very interesting. He should be out of this race is Lee, who rolled 6 times in that incident at the start there. So he's very lucky that he got away with the damage he did, and he's still able to carry on.
Is that Daniel
Ballas gone away?
It is indeed, down in 25th position, the XRR, the race green machine. He's able to get back underway. No safety car this time. So Joe Holmes on your screen right now, starting to open that gap up to Elo Starlow in 2nd position. I'll get you the gaps at line to let you know how much he's pulling away, but oh, that's a big spin further back, and again that's Daniel Barla again at the end of the straight there.
He actually had a leg contact with one of the other back markers. I think it was Linker.
A disaster for him. I don't think we'll see a safety car, no stranded cars. He's going to want to size up the damage. I think he's going to pit anyway. I would not want to drive with this. Well, look at the state of it. Unfortunately, the rear right absolutely caved in. He's going to be feeling that. We move back towards the front of the grid, side by side now, up into turn number 1. Who's going to come out on top?
Petrovicus. Now, Petrovicus, I'm sure he was at the back of the grid, wasn't he? He's had some kind of miracle start to this race. He's picked his way right through the carnage. He's now at P6. What an impressive run that is so far from one of the most seen drivers during Blackwood number 1, the first round of the race, as he tried to make it on those stops.
Your gap at the very front of the pack. Joe Holmes just over a second in front of Elo Starlow in 2nd position now. Start to see the grid slowly spread out. Joe Holmes faster split than the man in 2nd, Elo Starlow. Joe Holmes so far this lap, first split 26.38 seconds. Elo Starlow in 2nd position 26.77. Quite the gap.
A bit further down, Virtanen and Lagutskas fighting for 9th position. Lagutskas with the inside into the slowest part of the track. Doesn't take long.
Curious to see if Virtanen can come back at Lagutskas. We know Lagutskas has incredible pace with this combination of track and car. Virtanen slightly, he had to lift just a little bit. I think he was scared of running wide on the curb out of 12. Unfortunately, Lagutskas fast enough to break the toe.
Again, Lagutskas is actually one who's had to pit at the end of the first lap, so again, he's made a hell of a comeback at the moment as well.
Marky Hommler makes his way around the number 7 machine up into 12th position, but Belkov has second ideas. He's going to come back at the driver. He's on the outside now. Curious to see if he can get in front just before the braking zone at turn number 1. He does indeed. Very close behind though. Patrick Hall now looking towards the rear of Mackie Hommler, pursued by Angry Catilla now as he makes his way around the orange FZR.
Yeah, the
Thilo
orange.
up into 14th position.
Two cars I don't really understand on the track because Yannick Attila for World Class Lines, usually in white, yellow and black. Patrick Hole for Race Green, usually in green. So
Oh yeah,
a very
why is
stage
Patrick
side.
not using why is Patrick not using his aluminum screen? I hope I didn't put him off last week in my comments during the TRR race.
Jean-Lee and Martinez are now fighting. Martinez with the best place FXR in 16th position.
He's been drafted down the straight, and Martinez is going to lose that position, I think, before leaving the braking zone, and that's exactly what's happening there. The FXR really at Westhill with the straights is really under on a bit of a losing streak due to the number of straights and quick corners here, which is why you won't be seeing as many of them here. I'm sure later in the season at some of the other tracks we have coming up, it might suit the FXR a little bit more though.
Garcia and Price battling for 7th position. Price really at the diffuser of the XRR, pulling
Yes,
out of
Price.
the slipstream.
Price has been sitting quicker lap times as Joe Holmes in the lead. He is on an R2 or 3 setup, so I expect to see Isaac Price in the pits at some point during this race, boys. So that might explain why he was so eager to overtake Katia early on in this race. He looks as though he's got a lighter fuel on than what Katia would have had. So really, the contact there between the two of them into turn 4 really has cost them both quite a lot and has given such an advantage to Joe Holmes. Garcia now under pressure again.
Ooh.
The goose gas, and this is through.
Yeah, the goose gas
Slight
seals
contact.
the deal in turn number 3 on lap number 8 of 40 now. The gap for the lead is over 2 seconds now. Joe Holmes seemed to drive away from the rest of the field. Curious to see what kind of strategy he's on. We were saying that with the intervention of the safety cars, the people or the drivers with R2 could possibly make it to the end of the race, but I'm sure Joe Holmes will be sizing that up as he gets towards the end of the race. He'll know exactly where his tyres sit, but the question remains, has he got enough fuel to make it to the end of the race? If he planned on stopping, he won't want to carry that excess fuel around for the entirety of the race. Right now on board with Veloso, the man in P3, he's pursuing Ilostalo P2, but he wants to keep Botev behind. Botev, slightly better run now, can't quite see him through the mirror of Veloso's car, but I don't think he's close enough to make a move. He's definitely faster, aided by the draft, of course. Now we round turn number 13 and 14, complete lap number 8 of 40. Be curious to see if Botev is close enough to attack the man in 3rd position towards the end of the straight here into turn number 1. Botev not choosing to jump into the draft of Veloso. Not going to be close enough this time. Closely pursued by Nika Puntola in the sister car, almost to Isaac Price. Identical car skins. Puntola in 5th now. Isaac Price made his way up to 7th. Laguskas in 8th, following Isaac Price. And where's Catilla? Catilla is in 13th position.
I think with Katia quite clear. Oh, Mackie Holm has actually fallen back as well from 4th place in the grid. He's down to 12th, right in front of Katia. But I think that Katia at the moment is not going to be coming through the field as quickly because I don't think he was planning to make a stop. Whereas I think Price and the Gutskas, are planning to make pit stops. Certainly the Gutskas has already made one, but that was for damage after that lap 1 incident. And looking at the behaviour of these two cars and the way they've easily cruised through the field, I would put my money on these two having to pit again before the end of this race.
However, Lagutska's actually changed to R3, so he might be able to do the complete distance.
Good indeed, as Catilla's also on R3. The gap from P13, where Catilla currently is, to the lead is 14.3 seconds. Obviously, if our leader and well, everybody else apart from the guys on R3s are planning on stopping, he needs to keep that gap to a minimum so that he can come out in front after the guys who stop. We know the R3s will, well, they could theoretically make it to the end, but How much grip are they going to have? Obviously, the guys that stop will be behind the people that stay out if they can keep the gap down. But not only do you have to be in front, you have to stay in front.
Three-way battle with Mika Pantola for 5th position and 4th. Veloso, Pantola, and Petrovicius.
Now this is exactly what Isaac Price and Laguskas want to see. Pantola out wide, manages to keep the throttle pinned, didn't lose out too much now. Make our way into turn number 2. Veloso got away with that. He's got a little bit of breathing room now to Pantola.
Yes, it was always ambitious there for Nico to stick his nose in like that. I was going to say earlier, it's been a very clean start to this race for Pantola, having started in the mid-grid to get up to 5th position. And he's got all these guys actually from 2nd right the way back to 9th position are all within a few seconds of each other at the moment. Obviously, Joe Holmes is extending his lead and doing fast laps of the race. You will see on screen just now the Sim Broadcast TV tower, which has the purple there underneath Joe Holmes, beside or on Joe Holmes' name, which indicates fast lap of the race. A very nice little addition there for the broadcasting these days of the Live for Speed platform.
Just looking at Veloso there in 4th position, slightly sideways through the chicane, but managed to get the better exit of the drivers on the run down to turn number 8 now. Nico not quite close enough to make a move, although very close at the apex they were. Nico hesitant to get on the power there. That allowed Petrovicius to catch him slightly. Now, the chicane here, you don't want to run wide. This is where we've seen a few overtakes here in prior events at Westhill. You look back from the number 2 machine in 6th position. That's Isaac Price that you're looking at there in 7th position. Isaac carving his way through the field. Was down in 25th, I believe, at the 2nd restart. Managed to make his way up to 7th. We end lap 10 of 39.
We're actually on lap 11 of 40.
Joe Holmes does the fastest lap of the race again, extending his lead. He was a little bit quiet for a few laps in terms of setting the fastest laps as his tyres go through their heat peak, which means at this point Holmes has got no worries. He can now put the hammer down, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Joe extends that lead at the front there over this chasing pack. This pack is all very close together, which also help him out enormously. I think with Petrovicius has gone wide, and that has allowed Price and Lagauskis to come past him, and it was through contact there was contact.
Yeah, I think Petrovicius just tried to look on the inside of Veloso. They ran too wide through turn number 3. Didn't get the exit that he wanted, and he lost out 2 positions. So we do have 40 laps in this race, as Thilo said, but we did have a rolling start, so we've lost 1.
And of course, Pantola has got past Veloso as well, so something clearly unseen by the camera happened there. It looks so Pantola's now under pressure. Price under pressure from Lagauskis.
Yeah, Laguskas got the draft.
Down the inside, and he's got the position.
Does, but where does this leave Petrovicius? Isaac Price defending there, shallow into turn number 10 now. Isaac Price with the inside line manages to keep 7th position. Just giving it everything through turn number 12. He's very close, not close enough to make a move unless he's very brave on the brakes, but as we get towards the braking zone, look how the gap comes down. Petrovicius earlier on the brakes and Isaac not wanting to run into the back of him. If he wants to attack into turn 1, it's all about the run out of turn 14. I don't think he's close enough this time. Isaac with just the slightly superior power delivery out of turn 14 manages to get the car away. The gap to the lead now I think is about 4 seconds. I'll confirm that once we drive through the next split. Joe Holmes having no problem driving away from the rest of the field now.
Good grief, I'm looking at an absolutely insane battle behind this battle that we're looking at on track. Katia has forced his way through up to the top 10. Maki Homela's there as well. They were about 4 or 5 wide. They're still 4 or 5 wide out of turn number 2.
Contact.
Garcia there, wanting to make it 3 wide. Slight contact with Maki Homela. Maki Homela lots in behind Picanco.
Oh, it looks more like a rush hour.
Everyone jostling for position. It's a long race, boys. You want to calm down. I know you want to get in front.
How has nobody ended up in the gravel trap yet? This is incredible. This for the amount of close racing we've had from 2nd through to 9th, now from 13th to 17th, no, 13th to 19th. This is a crazy race. Sorry,
Keyword
10th
there
to
I'm
17th.
taking is yet. No
Yet.
cars in the gravel yet. We'll see. Drafting now onto the back straight up to turn number 8. Maki Homler with, well, he's definitely faster, but runs into the back of Pedro Bicanco there.
Everyone's saying wide on the apex, is he going to be able to hold it? Maki Homler running very wide. Allows Bicanco to get away, which is back under pressure from Hall and Garcia. It's Gracia. On board now with Patrick Hall as he chases Gracia down to the final corner. Can he slip up the inside? He can. Will he be able to hold it tight enough though? That is the question. Gracia will fancy his chances of getting lining up a move down this main street again.
Gracia is in a good position to overtake the orange race green car.
Here he goes. Thilo decides to go. He goes left.
Ooh!
Oh, a little bit of lag contact actually. A little bit of lag contact. That stops Gracia actually overtaking. Something strange happened there to both those cars. Gracia runs wide on the exit turn number 1.
Now, amongst all this, we've had a couple new fastest laps. Joe Holmes, that last lap around, extended his fastest lap.
Whoa, what's going on for 3rd now as well? Jesus.
First to get into the 53s, but Isaac Price snatches the fastest lap. 53.77 by Isaac. Lagutskast now looking all over the back of Veloso, the man in 3rd. This is the battle for the last spot on the podium so far. Isaac Price not too far behind Lagutskast.
What happened to Nico?
Yes, Pantola, but something's happened to Pantola on that last lap. He's dropped back a couple of positions. Lagutskast and Price come forward. I tell you who's clocked out, along with Joe Holmes, is Botev. He is, from the position he was in on the grid, Veloso goes back through on Lagutskast. Does he? Can he hold it? Runs slightly wide. Price comes up at the both of them, charging, trying to find a way through. No way there for Price. Lagutskast goes round the outside of Veloso. What an incredible pass that was. What a race he is having. What a race some of these drivers are having. Quite a lot of them are having an incredible race. Here we are on board now with Isaac Price as he sizes up Veloso for 4th position. Down to the final corner. I think he'll wait for turn number 1 though. If he can hold it tight enough through this final 3rd gear left-hander. Can he hold on? Pantola right there as well, his teammate right on the back of him. Price in the slipstream. Can he get the job done down to turn 1? I'd imagine he will, because he is closer than a lot of people have been when they haven't been able to make it stick.
Yeah,
he goes down the inside.
I think whatever happened to Pantola as he catches up to Isaac Price now happened on that last lap. Isaac Price to the inside, makes the move. Can he make it stick? He does indeed. Veloso slightly wide, gets a wheel on the grass, but able to keep the power planted. Pantola looking to the inside of the number 10 machine. This is the battle for, well, 4th, 5th, 6th, you name it. Positions up for grabs, things changing. But Pantola, I think, suffered on that last lap. He was 2.7 seconds off Isaac Price's lap time that last lap, so Nico wanting to do everything he can to get back up towards his teammate and towards the sharper end of the grid now. Veloso parking it on the apex now into turn number 4. Slightly to the left of where he should have been, Pantola was. He moves to the right. Who can brake later? Slight contact between the two. Veloso, I think, just struggling to get that power down. I don't know if he's overheated his tyres, but I think we'll see Pantola make a move soon. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the exit that he needs, and that's put him under pressure from the number 2 machine. Petrovicius wants that 6th position from Nico. It's all about the brakes now into turn number 8. Who's going to come out on top? Petrovicius with, well, I think he braked exactly the same place as Nico did, but just able to turn in a bit earlier. He's on the inside now. Through turn number 10, 11, and 12 on the paddock straight now. Petrovicius might have a run on Veloso here. Definitely had the turn 12 that he needed. He moves to the right. Braking just before the 50-meter board. Can he make it work around the outside?
He's going to get a good run here, Jack. It's definitely going to be Nico Pantola. There's 2 positions to be had here if he can put this right. He's going to use Petrovicius. He's going to bump draft like we saw him doing earlier, and they're going to bump draft straight past Veloso. Now, will Pantola make a move on Petrovicius as well. No, I think he's going to stay in behind for turn number one. So those two draft past Veloso for 5th and 6th positions. I said Botev and just checked out. I think what happened is something must have happened to Pinto and Botev, because I noticed that Botev, instead of being further ahead as I thought he was, he's actually behind this lot. So something I suspect had happened between Pantolo and him, because those two were very, very close a few laps ago.
So yeah, I think Nico and Petrovicius were now working together to get past Veloso. Veloso was showing everyone throughout this race already that he does not give up a position that easily. And as you pointed out rightly, he parked the car at the apex, so no one could get around.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was overheating his tyres, maybe
He
struggling
was also,
with the loud pedal, but they seem to have normalised now. Hopefully he can hook on to the back of the combination of Petrovicius and Puntola now and keep working his way towards the leaders, although Joe Holmes retakes the fastest
Puntola
lap from
on the
Isaac
inside.
Price.
Oof.
He's very close to see what he can do out of 12. And we know Petrovicius got the run on Velosa here last time around, so Petrovicius confident in the chicane as Puntola runs slightly wide there.
And the
Huge
Brazilian
commitment,
is
but I
again
don't think he accounted for the draft as much. Veloso moves to the inside now. This is the battle for 6th position. Veloso makes the move, but it's not over yet. Veloso slightly... Oh, and there's contact.
Contact!
And
Veloso
gets
was
through.
a bit generous
And
there on the
Catilla
loud
gets
pedal.
through.
Catilla does get through. Catilla up to 7th now. Burton through. Maki Homela through as well, up into 10th place. Picanco follows them in 11th. Patrick Hall in 12th. Everybody moving up now. We look towards your race leader off in the distance now. Just about to cross split number 2 around turn number 7 in a few corners. The gap to second, Ilostalo in second, 5.83 seconds and 11 seconds to third now. Laguskas got all his work cut out. He's in the podium positions though, is Laguskas. Laguskas, as I say, on a mission. He takes the fastest lap from Joe Holmes, and before that was Isaac Price. So battling for the fastest car on the track. Laguskas of 53.53 last time around. Your fastest man on track at the moment.
Costello is driving beautifully, as we said at this point in the race. He's keeping Joe Holmes very, very in check. He's wrapping within a couple of tenths. He's been faster on a few laps as well. He, at the moment, it's going to be he's not very, very easy for Price and Laguskas to overtake once they get to him. I think he will definitely be pitting though at some point, like Price. So that could be a battle to watch for the rest of this race.
So Catilla, the man on R3 is, we aren't 100% sure that he's going to the end, but we know it's definitely possible. The gap from him to the lead is now 18 seconds.
Battle for 8th position, Virtanen and Maki Holmaner. The Virus driver now to the inside, coming from the paddock straight into the final 2 corners. And at the back of this duo, Nico Puntola already appears again. He's
Going to
now
do everything he
side.
can to reclaim the positions that he lost last time around. Who's going to be in front come turn number 1? It is Nico Puntola. Henry Virtanen lifts out slightly, but again he's under attack from Picanco now into turn number 2.
Oh, dive!
Cyan Machine absolutely obliterates the inside line there, just absolutely licked the stamp and sent it. He's up in 10th position now. What a move.
I've never seen that in turn number 2 Westhill before. That's
well,
get out of my way moving. Is what we're saying there.
If there's a
you don't
gap,
get to the way,
Chris, if there's a gap, you go for it, mate.
No, that's an annoying phrase. No, we don't use that phrase.
We ride now on board with Picanco, looking towards Nico Puntola and Maki Homela in 9th and 8th respectively. What can he do? He's going to have the draft if he can get the exit down here. Puntola with a slightly favourable exit. I think he's a couple Ks up, but Picanco has the draft. He will close the gap as we approach turn number 8 for the 17th time.
behind
enough.
Hall is making a move on Vertinen now. So Vertinen has quite a few places this lap.
Patrick now up into 11th place. I'd say in the race green machine. He's got a race green number plate, but bright orange for us. I think Isaac Price is going to make a move on Laguskas as soon as he can. The two still incredibly close together. This is the battle for third position. Potentially Isaac might want to sit behind Laguskas. He knows actually, to be fair, Laguskas I think pitted for R3, so potentially able to make it to the end of the race. He pitted when the safety car came out. If that's the case, Isaac will want to get past him as soon as he possibly can, because we believe Isaac is still yet to stop in this race. Making our way round turn number 3 for the 18th time. The gap between Isaac and Laguskas is 0.4 of a second. What can Isaac do? Isaac's first split this lap, 26.39. The car ahead of him, a 26.27. So a couple hundred separate them, just over a tenth. But later on in the lap, let's see what the gap comes to. We're about to cross split number 2 as we go under the bridge on the back straight. The gap was 0.4 at split 1. It's now 0.59. Laguskas looks to be the quicker of the two drivers. And if he can make it to the end, this is blistering pace. Laguskas taken to the grass on the outside of 12. That's hindered his run up into turn number 13. Isaac will close the gap. It's all about the exit into turn number 14, who can get on the power early, let the car run out wide. I think Isaac will be close enough to make a move on Laguskas now. Isaac pulls out to the left-hand side. If he can't get the overlap done, which I think he can, I think it's already been done, he can now take his line into turn 1 as if he were not in a battle at all. He needs to drive away from Laguskas now if he's going to do anything, and this is the place to do it. Laguskas will now struggle following Isaac Price through turn 1, 2, 3, 4 and turn number 5. The only benefit to following a car is on the long straights, as we know. If the gap's going to come up, this is where it's going to be. The gap now, Isaac Price, 0.5 of a second in front of Laguskas in 4th position. Laguskas just seems to be able to carry a little more speed through turn number 4 there. We'll see what he's like onto the brakes into turn number 5, the little bus stop section that we have before the straight. It's always important to get a great exit here. You can be absolutely swarmed if you get a bad exit. The gap at the second split again, 0.5 of a second. Ride now on board with the man in 4th position. You can see the blue and night skin of Isaac Price in front. Isaac slightly running wide out of 12. I don't think it hindered him too much, but don't want to be on that grass at all. Joe Holmes retakes the fastest lap, 1:53.38. Laguskas not close enough to Isaac Price just yet. Hopefully he can stay with him. The gap was 0.5 at split 1, again 0.5 at split 2. Now Isaac crosses the line, the gap is 0.73, so hopefully Isaac can settle into a rhythm, drive away from Laguskas. Great to see that these two drivers have made their way back up into the top 5 after both being down in at least P25 at the restart. Isaac Price last time around takes the fastest lap away from Joe Holmes, and 1:53.28 takes a tenth off the fastest lap, and that's a lot.
Yeah, the front 4 are in a bit of a league of their own pace-wise, to be honest. They're the only ones that are currently in the mid-53s or anywhere near the 53s. So those guys are as we saw in qualifying, 3 of the 4 of the men were in the top 5. They were they looked as though they were going to be the class of the field, and so it's turned out. Of course, Yoni Katia is coming back through as well, and I don't think he's got stops. That'll be interesting to see where he comes out. We're getting toward the point where a safety car might start to change people's strategies, because do you want to? Because if you get a free pit stop, will you want to come in and just change your tyres regardless, rather than trying to stretch them out to the end? It'll be very interesting to see as we just pop past halfway who decides to do that if we do get a safety car. The action slightly calmed down from the 5 wide into turn number 2 as we had earlier, but there's still many good battles on track, which means there's many chances of safety cars still happening.
As you said, if we do get a safety car at this point, this plays right into Katila's hands. Of course, he's in 7th position now after making his way through the field again. He's on R3, so we know he can theoretically make it to the end on these tyres. But if the safety car was to come out at this point, he'd be able to switch it up onto R2s, the slightly faster compound. We know they won't last as long as the R3s, but we're already 20 laps into this race here. Botev, the man in 6th position, hunted down at the moment by Ronnie Katila, who's going to get the inside for turn number 1. Botev chooses not to defend. Katila moves up into 6th position and sets a personal best lap time whilst he's at it. Just shy of 2/10 slower than the fastest race lap we've seen from anyone. Katila crosses the line last time with a 1:53.43. So a 10th and, well, just over a half away from fastest lap set by Isaac Rice last time around. Katila managed to make the move stick now as we move into turn number 3. He's up into 6th position. The gap from Katila to the lead, from the lead to Katila is around 19 seconds. So it's definitely increasing ever so slightly, but if we don't have a safety car, we know Joe Holmes might have to pit at some point, and we know Katila might not have to. So curious to see if Joe Holmes pits where he's going to come out. Will certainly be behind Katila, but how long will Katila's tyres last? And as we get towards the end of the race, is he going to have the grip to fend off the cars behind him? Obviously, we know if the driver's pit, he's going to have track position, but he's not going to be able to defend much.
Just a thought, Jack and Thilo, while we're sitting here. While we were on the server last night, they were discussing qualifying laps. They did have a discussion about race time as well. And Joe had mentioned that he had managed to get his setup, and I presume it's this setup with the R2 tyres, to 38 racing laps without getting a puncture. Now, if we consider we've had how many laps of safety car? 5 laps of safety car?
Yeah,
something
around
like
that.
I wonder. I just begin to wonder whether he might be able to go without pitting on an R2 setup, but we'll see. Sorry, did I say Isaac? I meant Joe Holmes. Sorry, Joe Holmes is R2R2 XRR. He did say he managed to get 38 laps out of them before, I assume, the setup, before they punctured, so maybe he won't be stopping. But I think, given the unlikely event of an R3R2 setup working, I'm struggling to see an R2R2 setup start working, but we'll see. Joe is pulling out a gap as much as he can at the moment. He is still pushing on. He's been driving very smoothly, and with 23 laps gone, we will find out the answer very soon, I assume, because you're getting to the point where you will be starting to make pit stops. Just as I say that, we are starting to get some pit stops of the server boys.
So a few cars into the pits then for their scheduled pit stop. Just looking at Isaac Price once again, he extended his fastest lap that he snatched off Joe Holmes a few laps ago by another 10th really. This lap, I think Joe Holmes is the faster of the two by 1/100th of a second, but Isaac Price, fastest lap so far, 53.17. So as the fuel unloads itself from the car after being burnt to propel these guys around the track, we know the cars will get lighter. This is where we'll start to see the faster laps come into play.
Yeah, the FZR starts off with more fuel, more natural fuel than the XR, and at this point, Price's car looks in far better nick than it did earlier. Earlier, it seemed to be a little bit difficult to drive, but now, as the fuel comes down, as the tyres begin to wear away, and the Live for Speed tyre model has an interesting way of balancing out how the tyres work during a stint. Price has now got the hammer absolutely down. Is he going to go into the 52s this time around, I wonder? Let's see as he crosses the line to set a lap time 1 minute 53.05. It's not quite a 52, but another fastest lap of the race for the FZR of Isaac Price.
So we're slowly approaching the area where the lap times are within a second of the qualifying time, which shows that they are really at the top of their game currently with tires and fuel. We're watching Arthur Yostalo in second position, the best placed FZR.
He's got a 3.59 second gap to Isaac Price, the man in third in the same machinery. Yostalo, consistent pace now. Joe Holmes' second split was a 102.95, Yostalo a 102.97, so almost mirroring the race leader's pace here. He's in a comfortable window at the moment, doesn't have to battle with anybody.
As he crosses the line one more time to do his fastest lap of the race, a 53.29. Price behind does a 53.16. So Price is bringing the gap down, but it's not by as much as you might be thinking at the moment. He has certainly got a move on.
Yeah, he was indeed. Yostalo was the faster of the two. By the time we got to 2/3 way round that lap, Isaac just so much more confident in the final sector, brings that gap down even more. Starting to see a few penalties now. We've a stop-go penalty for car number 46. That's Botev. He's in 7th position at the moment, and that's for causing an avoidable accident. So
that will be the lap 1 collision, which I've been talking about or attempting to talk about various times. I can't quite work out. It's an error. They make the start of the move, and he just drives into the rear quarter panel of the car in front of him and causes the massive accident. So a stop-go penalty, to my mind, is probably the fair result there. It did cause a lot of damage for a lot of people, whereas he got through it completely unscathed, amazingly. So that's what that is incident for. That's for the massive accident on lap 1.
Nico Pontola got around Kanko.
Yeah, they're still battling as they
9th
round
position.
turn number 8.
Doesn't look like the Brazilian can pull a counter move. Talking about Brazilians, we've lost Veloso. Victor Veloso retired from this race earlier. After
We have a little battle unfolding. Sorry to interrupt, Thilo. For 19th position, Michael Malik and Daniel Barlett side by side down the back straight now. Daniel with the overspeed. Michael looks to the inside and just outbrakes Daniel, but also himself unable to get it turned in and slowed down. Daniel retakes 19th position. Now these guys definitely want to take it easy. They're in 19th position. Oh, massive cut there from Michael Malek, not wanting to give it any. Honestly, that was unbelievable. We'll see what happens there, but he didn't even gain anything, unfortunately, from that. But that was a massive cut, a couple meters, really, just completely ignoring turn 12. not getting the run
Stop
that he
and
wants.
go penalty for Ricardo's Petrovicius, the O2 car currently in 5th position. He was overtaking before the start-finish line on both restarts.
Yes, and just to point this out, a warning has been adjudicated in the incident between Price and Katia after the safety car. Kind of as I thought might happen with that one. Price was more at fault. He took the curb. Katia probably should have left him more room or backed out of the incident, especially given he had this whole car there. So a warning will be officiated to car number 99, Isaac Price, as well in 3rd position. But there's quite a few penalties coming up, Thilo. It seems as though there's been a few naughty drivers out there today. Off of Santa's nice Christmas cards list for those drivers at the moment.
Well, Santa has got over half a year to reconsider these decisions.
Hey, in a coronavirus world, we can't do much to come off of Santa's bad list at the moment. We can't go outside very often, so unfortunately, boys, it looks as though it's cold in your stocking this year if you're getting a penalty today.
At least with coal, you can heat up your room once you cannot pay the heating anymore.
Petrovicius out of, I think, about 7th position now, down in 10th as he's on pit road to serve his
For
stop
goodness
go.
sake. He's not. It's a 10-second stop and go penalty, but he has taken it as an iRacing style stop and go penalty. So he didn't stop for very long, and now has to come back in and do his second stop for a stop go.
He rejoins in 12th position, but insult to injury, well, self-inflicted almost. Not stopping for long enough, didn't serve the 10-second stop that he had. Will have to re-stop. He's basically, well, he's got to serve 2 now, really, because he's already attempted it once.
Currently, the top 10 in the race, Joe Holmes leading from Arturo Stalo, Isaac Price in 3rd position, Lagutskas in 4th, Katila 5th, Puntola 6th, Picanco 7th, Mackie Harmler 8th, Patrick Hall 9th, Sean Lee 10th.
So yes, some more penalties are going out at the moment for overtaking before the safety car, before the start line on both restarts. These are just drive-through penalties because he didn't do it more than once, which is why Petrovicius had a stop-go penalty, and these guys have just been awarded drive-throughs. A drive-through penalty for 29 Gonzalez, 33.
That's Hinka down in P27.
Joe Holmes in the
Holmes!
To our leader
Gets
on
out.
the gravel on the outside of turn number
More cars
4 now.
piling in.
Safety car is deployed.
Arthur in the lead due to the safety car being deployed just in the moment where he avoided Joe Holmes.
I think Ilastalo managed to make the move before the safety car was called. Ilastalo will be your race leader now. Joe Holmes down in 2nd position. Isaac Price didn't manage to get past Joe just before the safety car was announced. Be curious to see if the guys now will take advantage of this. I don't know if the pit lane is closed. Will we see some pit stops?
Zanella is still in the gravel, can't get out of it.
Yeah, there's a car stuck. Is he going to be able to get out? I think there is a car stuck in turn number 4.
Okay, now with a little push of the rescue car, he is out. Nearly crashing with Velikov, though.
Yes, this will be a short safety car with Joe Holmes. Yeah, that's an unfortunate incident for him. Now, he will certainly have to pit, I think, now, given that he's been spun around, and you won't want to take the risk of having flat spots on your tyres when they're getting thin. Will anybody else pit? This will be very interesting to see, boys. I'll tell you who got slightly lucky there. Petrovicius had just... Well, he was in the pit lane completing his second stop-go penalty, so he has not lost a lap, and he's completed his penalty now. So he will get away with that, and he will be able to rejoin at the back of the field and not lose a lap.
Yeah, Laguskas still having to serve that drive-through penalty he'd received. He's in 4th at the moment. Will he be able to serve that and pit maybe? And this is where we'll see if everybody comes into pit. So Yulastalo stays out, Joe Holmes stays out,
Oh,
Isaac
Lagutskas
stays
comes
out.
in, though he cannot do anything because he's still to serve his drive-through penalty, and he may not serve it during the well, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Lagutskas leaves the pit lane now after serving his drive-through penalty. He's in 10th position now. Not lost out too much, considering.
Leonard de Jong retired, by the way.
Looking back from our safety car now as we enter turn number 3. This is where we'll pick the leader up. Yulastalo will be your race leader for the 3rd restart now.
Chris, what do you say? Cautions beat cautions?
Yes, they certainly do. I mean, look at any sort of Indianapolis 500 race or Kyoto 500 race. Not to get Jonathan Palmer's blood boiling out there wherever he is. I don't think he's here today, so just the mention of the word Kyoto 500 would get his blood boiling, I'm sure. But it could very much be. My goodness, I'm just watching the incident that's brought out the safety car, and it's very unlucky for everybody.
I just caught the end of it. Joe Holmes was lapping the first cars. What happened there? Oh, Zanella just overtook everyone.
Yeah, he's been waved around the safety car.
Did he, though?
No, that was number 88 that was waved around. I think he misread chat.
No, 88 just got the permission to speak. That's, well...
Very close to Yulastalo. He was warming his tyres up. Unaware. Luckily, no collision.
Yeah.
Everybody's still bunching up. You can see the amber lights illuminating around the track. That's to indicate the safety car is still staying out. We'll have another lap.
And currently, you just had a little look at the safety car from the view of Arturo Stalo. Safety car driven by Stuart Baker today, with rescue cars by Sejitas Sakis and Chris McElroy.
I tell you what, lads, these tyres are dead. These tyres are ultimately freezing cold on some of our race leaders at the moment. This is a bad time at Westhill to have a safety car once we're sort of in that period where you're just trying to nurse them to the end effectively. To get a safety car now is not good for anybody. And you were saying about restarts bringing safety cars, or safety cars breeding from safety cars. The terminology isn't forgotten. What was it, Thilo? Sorry, just for clarification.
Cautions beat cautions.
That's the one. Where it was an American saying, of course, cautions in America. And it wouldn't surprise me if cautions in this state breed punctures, because it does not look good for some of our race leaders. And I wouldn't be liking to be Joe Holmes at the moment, because I think he did get some nasty flat spots in that incident. It was a very unfortunate incident. De Jong was having his own accident in front of Holmes and another car, and he was trying to keep the car sort of off to the side, and the grass just understeered him back onto the track in an unfortunate position where the other two were coming, and yeah, it was a very unfortunate incident, that.
Yeah, looking at the GUI that indicates everybody's tyre temperatures, Yulastalo, your race leader at the moment, with the coldest tyres out of the top 3. Race control says safety car is in at the end of this lap. You can see the flashing hazard lights on the safety car. Well, you can't, unfortunately, because we're riding on board with it at the moment, but they have gone out. Safety car will be in this lap, so Ilastalo will start back in the pack up in a few corners' time. He needs to get some heat into his tyres, though. They're absolutely freezing cold, and he's going to feel that.
This also gives the game away. I guess nobody is pitting. So this means that Katia, with his R3 setup, is sort of, he needs to push hard. He's right back up there. He has the pace. He's in 5th position. He also has the hardest compound tyre, so I don't think he'll be thinking about punctures. So that'll be very interesting to see what he can do on this restart.
Katila has the disadvantage that Gracia is between him and the current professional podium drivers.
Yes,
Gracia,
indeed, it is.
His tyres are absolute ice. I don't think he's been doing really any tyre warming behind the safety car. If Katila can get past him, he needs to do it fast, because if he's going to follow a car with cold tyres, he's going to struggle.
Here we go then, out of the final corner. Can Holmes get the jump back into the lead? This is going to be very interesting. Will this be the run to the flag now for these drivers at Westhill? Holmes holding back with his XR. Green flag is given. Price is the one who's made the best start, but they're going to go 3 wide at some point. Holmes has to pop his head out. Holmes is going for the lead. Price is going to go back inside. Price ducks to the outside again. They're very close. Touch into turn number 1. Holmes holds the lead from Price, who goes round the outside of Costello into 2nd position. So the leader again loses out at the start of a restart at Westhill with that long straight. Katia has immediately got past Garcia, and that means that the front 4 are all ready to battle. Nico Patola has made up a few positions as well and back up to 5th position.
Yeah, just amazing commitment from Isaac there on the restart to make the move around the outside in turn 1, especially with tyres that aren't necessarily brand new, not up temperature as much as they would be if they were green flag racing. Garcia took to the grass straight away. We have a car off, just rejoining. Who's that?
Yannick Attila to the inside of Yarstalo into 3rd position, forcing his way through into the braking chicane on the other end of the circuit, but runs wide.
Ilastalo pulls out to the left-hand side, but behind we've got Nika Puntola and Pedro Bicanco with 2 wide, followed by another 2 wide.
Oh, this can't end well. This cannot end well, because the cold tires, cold brakes. Katia goes back down the inside. Bicanco tries to go around the outside. Oh, Costello goes wide. Pushed to the outside by Castilla. Bicanco gets pinched. Now Maki Homla comes back at them both. This is unbelievable racing here down at the new Westhill chicane. Katia has made it through and is back up into 3rd position. Pitolo goes on the grass slightly. Bicanco has dropped back. He got pinched in the chicane. He's now behind Maki Homla. Can he get round the outside into the final corner? Side by side, boys. This is a little bit close. Maki Homla breaks late. He almost hits Patola, but he manages to slow down. And here comes the Gaukas past them both.
Lugutskas mugs them both around turn number 13 and 14. It's all about the exit and the drive down across the start-finish line to start lap number 32.
Maki Homla goes back at him though, Jack. He's going round the outside. Can he make it stick? I think he's got just enough of a move that he will have the position. He does. Maki Homla back in 6th. Bicanco sends it down the inside. That's not going to work. That was too far back.
He had a look, but I think he
thought
better of it before the apex there.
Scared by Lagutskas hitting the brakes to slow down a little bit.
Bicanco runs wide.
Petrovicius with the run, moves out to the right now. This is the battle for 8th place. It's going to turn into modest contact between the two now, up into turn number 3.
Where's Petrovicius come from?
Absolutely nowhere, but Bicanco's struggling even more now. Botev has passed Bicanco. Bicanco dropping back.
He should be about 30.
And Patrick Hall's going to make a move on him as well. Disaster for Bicanco now, finds himself in 11th place if he can't get it stopped.
He's just been squeezed out, Jack. Hall goes round the outside, a little bit of contact. Hall runs wide, Bicanco gets the position back now. Hall cuts the corner slightly, Bicanco gets the position back.
A little bit further up, Botev is now taking a look at Petrovicius. And he overtakes.
Sorry, Lagurkis and Maki Homla have had contact in front of them. Sorry, I was getting very excited there by the amount of cars that are side by side.
Petrovicius there, massive oversteer. You can see the orange car there in the back of the shot there. This is the battle for 8th. Botev slightly slower out of 12, and we're going to be side by side now running down the paddock straight. Petrovicius, I think he lost a bit of traction there when he pulled out of the slipstream, lifted and tucked back behind Botev. To make our way around turn number 13 and 14, who's going to get the drive? Kanko's getting involved now. He's caught back up after being absolutely mugged by everybody. Found himself down in 11th at one point. He's managed to get past Patrick.
Botev
into
defends
10th
inside.
position.
Petrovicius goes round the outside. Can he make it stick? It looks as though he is, Jack. Where's Pikanko gone? I thought he would have got a far better run than that down the main straight there. But he didn't. He goes wide now, Pikanko. Can he hold it? He does, just about.
Everyone with a bad turn 1, so Patrick Hall is suddenly again knocking at the door of Pikanko.
Meanwhile, this battle has taken place. Your race leaders, Joe Holmes and Isaac Price, are breaking away from the rest of the field now. Joe and Isaac separated by around half a second. Holmes was faster on that last lap, however, in the first split at least. Isaac Price is about half a tenth faster, and that might not seem like a lot, but it's almost a car's length.
Oh, puncture. We've got car of the puncture in the old turn number 4, which is now turn number 5. Who's that? It is Kaiki Piroppo has got a puncture. He's managed to bring it back on the track slowly, but he has a front right puncture, and that is a disaster for him. He must have locked up somewhere to have that go at this stage. I would have thought he'd have got a few more laps before that was an issue, but he does have damage.
Pikanko and Botev are side by side up into turn number 8. Who's going to outbrake who here? Pikanko to the inside, manages to get it onto the apex and gets the exit that he needs. Botev down in 10th position now. Can Pikanko manage the temperature?
Sliding over all 4 wheels through the corner to make the move stick.
Petrovicius slightly wide out of 12 there, compromised his run up to the final 2 corners, but Pikanko not fast enough to take advantage of that just yet.
Piroppo now has 2 front punctures, so he is struggling to get back to the pits. Hopefully he will make it with no front wheels on his wagon. Oh, he's going to hit the wall. He's going to hit the wall. He's going to just about rebound so he gets back in the track. But hopefully that doesn't cause a safety car. I think he should be alright from there to make it back without causing a safety car. That's probably not what we need right now, because this is very, very entertaining.
So, Joe Holmes and Isaac
bigger
Price.
Crash in turn 1.
Go ahead, Thilo. Who's
Sean
involved?
Lee is off, but can return to the racing
Whoa!
line. And again a blue car shot by, and again it was the number 80 car.
Sinella has balls. Put it that way. That was all 4 wheels on the grass at a point that normally if you touch the grass you get spun out. No, I'm coming fast and I'm not going to think a single thing of it. Cheers, mate. Bye. Unbelievable.
We ride now on board with the man in second place, Isaac Price, number 99, chasing down your race leader, Joe Holmes. Last lap around, these two were separated by a 100th of a second. Joe Holmes, the faster car of the 2 so far this lap by 4 100ths of a second. What can Isaac Price do from second place? If there's any part of the track he's going to be faster by following Joe on, it's this part of the track. 2 big straights now. What can Isaac do to get closer to Joe? 120 mile an hour at 5th yet. Up into turn number 13, 135 miles an hour.
Puncture
just before
for
hard on the brakes.
Nico Pontola, front right puncture.
Absolute disaster for Nico then. He's going to peel off into the pits. Not what he wanted to do with only 6 laps remaining. He's down in 5th. Meanwhile, at the front, your race leader and the man in second place set identical lap times. They were 100th apart last time around. Nothing separates them now. The gap is around half a second. This is where Isaac's going to struggle if he's following a car. The draft is not friendly when the corners are so fast. Downforce just isn't there.
This is certainly where it gets tense, because will the tyres make it? We're now starting to see punctures. Pontola, I don't think I've seen Pontola, other than the half spin he had during the collision with earlier on in the race, have an incident where he would have scrubbed the tyres around things. So the FSRs out there might be getting a little bit nervous hearing one of their compatriots has had a puncture. And of course, Mr. Holmes with his R2 setup, will that make it to the end? It's very interesting.
But for the moment, the R2s are the better tires. You simply get more heat into them and they have more grip compared to the older R3 tires, sorry.
Joe's front right tyre does not look happy, I've got to say at this point. So that with the way that you've got to make an R2 setup work is that you've got to use the fronts a little bit more to keep the rear in check, even on XRR. And to me, it looks as though his front right might just be crying enough, but does he have enough tread to just make it over the line? There's 5 to go at the end of this lap.
Isaac, I think, is the closest he's been so far. Still only a couple of hundredths separate the drivers in terms of lap time this lap. What can they do? Joe Holmes crosses the line to complete lap 35. Goes fastest with a 52.89. That's a personal best from Joe Holmes. The gap is still 0.5. Isaac crosses the line with a 152.88. So again, 100th of a second separates the two drivers' lap time last time around.
It's like being we're back in 2010 again. Joe Holmes and Isaac Price going wheel to wheel. FSR versus XR. First racing skin on a car. Good times. Anyway.
Puncture for Gracia in 27th position, the car number 27, front right.
Holmes monsters the chicane slightly there, as his number plate says. As he comes out of the chicane, these two are giving absolutely everything at this moment. They're not thinking about the tyres, let's put it that way. Yoni Katia is not that far behind them. He is hoping at this point that these two have issues with their softer compound tyre before the end of this race. Price is closing under braking, but he can't seem to get close enough to get a slipstream. He needs the slipstream because the FSR is not as good at a straight line as the XR. That's where the XR has the advantage. This is cat and mouse at the moment.
Absolutely nothing separates these two drivers. Both identical split 1 times, but with the aid of the draft on the back straight just before split 2, Isaac managed to claw 200ths of a second. Both drivers still within 0.5 of each other. Holmes with a slightly later apex there into turn number 13, but allows him to get onto the power just that little bit earlier, and that's the advantage that he needs. We know the XRR slightly faster in a straight line than Isaac Price's FZR. The gap will be slightly more at the line, 0.63 at the line. Joe Holmes crosses the line again with a 52.84. That's a personal best lap. Isaac with a 52.97, slightly slower. We've not seen these drivers separated by more than a couple hundredths for the last 3 laps, and Isaac was just over a tenth slower last time.
A bunch of drive-through penalties just issued.
Yeah, car number 29, 33, 69 and 51. 69, I know. Here's Laguskas again in 5th position. He's got another drive-through. Disaster for him. And we're on lap 37 of 40 now, so these guys have got to serve them before the end of the race, of course. They have 3 laps to do so.
Which is sporty with just 3 laps to go.
The battle at the front, I mean, it's so much like an accordion at the moment. It's like Price goes up under braking, Holmes stretches lead under the straights, and it does feel to me as though it's going to be very, very difficult for Isaac Price to make a mistake. He needs Joe Holmes to make an error, and during this race, the only time that Joe Holmes has had issues is when somebody else had an incident that he got caught up in. And to be honest, I think Joe would very much deserve this race. He has had pretty much. He has driven faultlessly.
A little bit wide.
The gap was 0.6 at the last split. What's happened to Holmes? Is it a puncture? Is it a front right puncture? It is.
It's the front right.
Disaster for your race leader. He finds himself in 2nd place, having to make his way down to pit road. Where's he going to come out? That gives Isaac Price the lead. He leads with only 3 laps to go. 38 now.
This tire's not looking much happier either.
And that promotes Catilla to 2nd place now.
What did Joe say? He already managed to get the set to go 38 laps. And there we go. There's the example of what happens here. Just pushing it too hard.
Makes you wonder though if that, well, the most recent safety car we had was Joe Holmes getting tangled with a back mark. Could the slide or, well, like you said, flat spots, you know, everything adds up. And unfortunately, like you said, Westhill's a track that bites. And today is bit Joe Holmes. He finds himself down in 16th position as he rejoins the race.
Yeah, I mean, it was an adventurous setup from Joe, and it worked for him. I think it would be very interesting to see what would happen if he hadn't had the incident with where he was caught up in a backmarker's crash. No fault of his own. He drove faultlessly out there today, and it's a shame that that's happened. Now, the big question is now, will Isaac Price's tyres make the last few laps? As we watch the battle for the final podium position, as Lagarkas, who was on pole position at one point before his penalties, tries to get back onto the final place on the roster.
He still has a penalty to serve.
I'm just looking at the front of this battle. The man in third, Ilastano. Look how thin the tread is on his front right. Is he going to make it to the end as well?
Going to be interesting to see if those tires last.
I would not be touching the curbs under braking at the moment, because that's when a tyre will go.
Same for Mackie Hermler, by the way. Oh,
Lagarkas, of course, has a penalty, so he will have to come in and serve it this time, or the next time he's going to serve it the next time by. So Mackie Hermler will hope that he clears out the way quickly so he can have a run at Diastallo.
We start lap number 39 of 40. What can Ilastano do? Can he make front right last? We know it's very thin. Unfortunately, you guys on the stream can't see what I'm seeing, but there's literally about 3 pixels of tread left on the front right. He's going to struggle now. What can he do? Under attack from Laguskas, but we know Laguskas has a drive-through penalty to serve. Mackie Hermler compromised there through turn number 4. He's under attack now by Petrovicius in 6th position. The number 2 machine very, very close now into turn 5, 6 and 7. Who can get the run out of turn number 7? We know the draft is huge here. Petrovicius with the better run than Mackie Hermler. Pulls to the right. Mackie Hermler will be on the inside for turn number 8, but will the overlap happen? Will Petrovicius move to the left before he brakes? He does. And that's contact. He runs into the back of Laguskas now. Through turn number 10 now. Everyone's starting to struggle to keep temperature in the tyres. Mackie Hermler slightly wide out of 12. He's going to run out on. He's dropping back now. Is the man in 6th position, and look how close Petrovicius is to Laguskas. He makes the move late on the brakes now into turn number 13.
Oh,
Ilastano, I think that's a puncture. Is that a puncture? I called it. I knew he had hardly any tyres left, and that's disaster for him. We're on lap 39 of 40 now. Laguskas and Ilastano both make their way into the pits. Laguskas to serve his drive through Ilastano to get a new front tyre.
So we're on the final lap here, and I think Katia can catch Price on pace. We saw this in round 1. Isaac Price trying desperately to get to the end, being very, very slow at the end of the race. He has to be desperately nervous about the condition of his front tyres. They are in worse condition than Joe Holmes were. Katia has no such issues with his harder tyres, and he is absolutely on fire. He can catch Price on lap time. Here, we're in the second sector at the moment. He can smell him. He can smell his fumes from the back of the FZR. Is Katia going to take an unlikely victory when he was 21st at one point? Price has been obviously down at 25th as well. But Katia was down there later on in the race. Here, out of the chicane, Price nursing, babying these tyres. Can he get to the finish? It's incredible. He's so slow at the moment. He's lapping at least 2 seconds off. He's got the final section to go, but he can't push. If he pushes, he might run a risk of bursting the tyre. Can Katia do it? No mistakes. He might get a chance into the final corner. But Isaac Price comes into the final sector now, down the downhill right-hander into turns 11 and 12, the chicane. He just has the final left-hander, the long left-hander in third gear. This is where Joe Holmes picked up his puncture earlier. Is Isaac Price going to make it? He might just get away with it. We find out now. He breaks for the final corner. Katia is not close enough to win this on pace, but it all comes down to that front right tire.
It's a puncture for Isaac. Isaac's got a
It's
puncture.
gone.
It's a race to the line now. We know he's left-hander before the pit straight, but what can Catilla do from second now? Yappy's closing, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Isaac's going to stay ahead. He's going to take wins in round 2 now. The GT2 challenge. Unbelievable. I'm actually lost for words. He managed to get the puncture on the final corner, the final lap, and still take the victory. Absolutely stellar driving there. We knew it was coming.
I feel so sorry for Yoni Katia. I mean, it's not. He just can't. Even when his rivals have bad luck, he just can't quite. He never quite gets the result he deserves. What an incredible race!
So 3 punctures in the same corner there. Eyre Starlow with a puncture, Isaac Price with a puncture, Joe Holmes as well with a puncture, but Isaac, being the lucky of the 3, manages to keep his lead and takes the victory and the fastest lap now.
Nico punctured both his rears.
I think. Right. Nico Pantola only replaced his front right tyre, and it's punctured both of his rear tyres on the last lap. I mean, if that is the most Nico Pantola.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they had pressure him when he joined, when he went down the pit lane. He thought, I'm just going to change the one that's flat.
Nice, nice try, Nico. I think that's the best Live for Speed race. Many years. I feel so bad for Joe Holmes for what happened there, because he drove beautifully the whole race. And
Joe Holmes across the line down in 12th position.
He had a good comeback. I was watching a little bit of him. He was absolutely charging through the field to try and get some positions back after his late race pit stop. But Isaac Price, with 3 wheels in his wagon, takes his second win of the season. And I would definitely not have said that after the second safety car was possible, especially when he caused an incident with Katia, which both of them were lucky they didn't get more damage from. Would you have said they would have finished 1 and 2 when they were pointing backwards and stuck in the gravel trap after 5 laps of this
Definitely
race?
not. Obviously, they've been aided by the safety car, and I mean, there's no testament to their driving ability. You know, they put everything on the line. Isaac and Joe both on the absolute limit there. And I tell you what, this is the first time I've actually been excited after the race has finished, because I can't wait to talk to the drivers. I want to know exactly what's going through their head right now, because that was unbelievable.
So if you've liked our broadcast tonight, please consider to subscribe to the channel, to follow the channel, sorry. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, though. We will show you again some live Live for Speed racing on Tuesday, as always.
If you're wondering what our broadcast schedule is, there's a little link just in the Twitch description. If you click on that, you'll find our broadcast calendar. We'll run you down the top 10 in just a second, but in the meantime, feel free to visit simbroadcasts.tv. Hopefully we get to speak to some of the drivers after an incredible round 2 we've had here at Westhill International. Thanks for joining us so far. We'll run you down the top 10 in a second. I still can't get over that. Isaac incredibly lucky there to take the win after getting a puncture in the final corner on the final lap. Takes the fastest lap as well. The gap at the line between Price and Catilla, first and second, was 0.4 of a second. Isaac luckily managed to get the power down and didn't suffer too much from that puncture. He'll be glad that he got it on the last lap and not one before, like Eyre Starlow, or 3 to 4 to go, like Joe Holmes, who found himself out of the lead and finished down in 12th position after pitting.
But to be honest, it was not only those late race punctures. The whole race was drama from lap 1 on. I mean, after 5 laps, we've just seen 2 tries to get turn 1 done properly. Then, after all, that stuff had calmed down. The racing started to settle in and deliver us with plenty of stuff to talk about. then the whole Joe Holmes schlamassel that was unfolding with the third safety car period. And this promoted everyone to try a zero-stop strategy and all the punctures in the end. So I think I've got to process much after this race. I probably need to talk to someone tomorrow. So much stuff happening.
So on screen you see your top three. Isaac Price takes the win, followed 0.3 of a second behind him, Catilla. Isaac managed to keep the lead at the line, and in third place, 7.98 seconds behind our race leader, was Petrovicius in the orange car there. So here we have Yoni Catilla. Welcome to the commentary box. I don't know what's going through your mind. I don't even know what's going through mine at the moment. How did you feel when you saw Isaac get a puncture on the final corner?
I mean, I was kind of expecting it since he had problems with grip before. So I was just hoping for a puncture, but a bit before than the last corner. I mean, it can't be more closer than that, so I don't know.
Which I mean, after your incident with Isaac at the start, where I'm assuming that you're going to go and shout at Isaac after this race, would you put any money on you two being first and second at the end of the race when you're both stuck in that turn 4 gravel trap?
Absolutely not. I had to pit, repair my damage, change my tires, and I was not really getting on speed, and passing was a problem. And so Isaac got like 6 seconds gap already. And yeah, and then the safety car came again. My tires got cold, and the grip was very bad. And since Holmes and Isaac were running softer tires, so obviously they were faster. But I did what I could. Kind of got lucky with those penalties too, so.
And we're also joined by Isaac. Do you want to ask that question again, Chris?
No.
Isaac, would you like to take the opportunity to apologise to Yoni for the incident that happened on lap 4?
I don't really know what happened, to be fair. I mean, I would have thought that if the stewards thought it was my fault, I would have got a penalty for it. But
you got a warning.
Did I? I didn't even see that.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't really know what happened, to be fair. I felt like I had enough of an overrun to be able to go for the move. I thought I slowed down enough, but it all kind of happened so quickly. And also we got a race control message about the safety car literally as we were side by side. I think we actually made contact like literally the second after. So I don't know. When we made contact, I was kind of in disbelief, really. I don't know. I don't really know what happened. I need to watch the replay.
Without being a facetious arsehole for once, the actual question is, would you, when you two were side by side in that gravel trap and stuck at the end of lap 4, would you put any money on the two of you finishing first and second in this race?
I don't even remember being stuck in a gravel trap. So yeah, I don't really know. I didn't expect to have a chance of winning, but I knew that there was two sides to it, because I could pit and put new tires on, and I could run flat out to the end of the race. Well, that's what I thought. So I kind of knew that I had a chance of getting back up there. But yeah, I would never have expected we'd finish 1-2 after that. Especially when there was only one other safety car. If it had turned into a if there was just loads and loads of safety cars, then you can usually fight your way back through. But there was only really one safety car, and I don't think it made that much difference to the end result. Maybe the incident that happened to Joe meant that he got a puncture, but I think R2 was always going to get a puncture before the end.
Now, you were incredibly lucky to keep the lead after the puncture in the final corner on the final lap. What was going through your mind when it went bang?
Well, obviously from doing the practice stints and stuff, I kind of got an idea on like how the tyres are behaving and how long it'll be until they puncture, and I knew that it was marginal. Kind of the tyre heating on the safety car pushed it over the edge, really. I kind of just wanted to keep pushing Joe to make sure that he got a puncture. I didn't want to let him kind of back off the pace. So once he got the puncture, I kind of backed it off. yeah, and kind of going into the last lap, I was basically kind of trying to go at a speed where that I wouldn't have a massive accident if the tyre went, and because obviously there was a big gap behind Yoni, so I was kind of trying to manage my pace. But yeah, I was quite lucky the way it went that I was able to still make the corner, because if it had went like as I was braking, I would have ran wide and Yoni would have got the win. So yeah, definitely had luck on my side today, but have to be in that position in the first place to take advantage of it.
Well, congratulations to you both for making your way back through the pack, and congratulations to you, Isaac, for keeping the win. Commiserations to you, Katila. Fortunately, only 4/10 separated you two at the line. Incredible to see. We were screaming, really. I still haven't quite processed it. Thank you for joining us in the commentary box anyway. All the best for the next round. Like we said earlier, if you're wanting to keep up with simbroadcast.tv, feel free to check out our calendar. Thanks for watching so far. If you're still tuned in from the start, thank you very much. Please consider following the channel. It means a lot to us, really. We're quite a new broadcasting channel, and we've already got quite the community. Seen some familiar faces in the chat every broadcast, so the support means a hell of a lot to us. I think, do we have the top 10, Thilo?
So round 2 of the GT2 challenge by Near Dimension Racing in the for speed. Isaac Price wins from Yannick Thiele and Ricardas Petrovicius. 4th position, Matthias Mackie-Haumiller in front of Petro Picanco, Patrick Hall, Borislav Botev, and Mikhail Verikov. In 9th position, Henry Virtanen in front of Daniel Balla. Rounding out the top 10, yeah. Of course, all results so far are provisional, and yeah, it was such an intense race. I wouldn't, take them for the final results as of now. But what are you both thinking about tonight?
Well, I think this is the most action-packed race I've seen in Live for Speed for quite a long time. We knew the strategy would come into play, but it has in other ways. Obviously, the guys that stayed out risked a puncture. We saw 3 punctures, plenty of safety car, plenty of overtakes, plenty of battles. It was a relatively clean race. Everybody being as respectful as they can, as we like to see week in, week out.
I think my thoughts are that the new Westhill stuff is still fantastic for racing. The classes are very, very close together. The drivers are reasonably close together as well at the moment. We saw some fantastic battling out there today. I can't believe that finish, and I can't believe halfway through the race we were still in the cars 6 wide into various different corners. And I can't believe we saw somebody have a dive bomb into turn number 2 at Westhill, and it worked out okay for everybody.
That was Picanco with the move of the
Yes.
century there. Absolutely sent it. Glorious to see.
Yes. And so, my final thoughts of the night are, if you are sitting there and you wonder how you can get involved in this and whether you can get involved, you can. Please visit the Live for Speed forum and find the New Dimension Racing section. We have 2 more rounds of this championship to go for this season, and in 2 weeks' time, we go to a completely different style of track, everybody. We go to Aston North, which is a tight technical track, which will probably favour the FZR for the first time this season. And I cannot wait already. If it's half as good as this race was, we're in for a treat, boys.
Indeed. So thank you to everybody who joined us today. Like we said, if you want to sign up, you're more than welcome to browse the Live for Speed forum and find the correct area. Although the easier way would be to click our broadcast calendar and look at the series website. I think we're going to sign off now. Thanks for joining us. It's been incredible racing so far. Can't wait for round 3.
Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Goodbye.